Hi guys, Travel for Cheap. Jay Nice on the mic here. Again, sorry for the mess over here. I am currently doing laundry, so my room is a mess. I am here to give you guys tips for all of you guys who are thinking of traveling to the sunny beaches of Brazil. So, for those of you guys who are thinking of traveling to Brazil, this video will be full of tips to help you um, along the way. So, I went to Brazil in August of 2014. I had an amazing time. I stayed for a week. Um, when I went to Brazil, I stayed at the Marriott. And we first of all we went. It was just me and one other friend of mine, and we stayed at the Marriott in Rio de Janeiro, which is not the capital. I don't believe it's the capital. Um, I think Brasilia might be the capital, but I'm not 100% sure. But I don't think Rio is the capital. I could be wrong. But we stayed on the Marriott was right along Copacabana Beach, which is the most popular beach in Rio. It's a heavy tourist attraction. And we stayed in the Marriott. I recommend staying in the Marriott or any other American hotel because they accept dollars as a form of payment um, for the breakfast. The staff is so friendly. They're amazing. They all speak English, and they're very helpful. So I would definitely recommend the Marriott to anyone who is going to Rio. I'm sorry for those of you guys who want to travel to other places in Brazil because I have only been to Rio. So this video is basically giving you tips on if you're traveling to Rio. So print out or get a guide full of Portuguese words. My friend made the mistake of thinking that everyone there would speak English. That's not the case. The cab drivers often don't speak English. And you're going to a foreign country, so you have to go with the understanding and realization that not everybody there, especially once you get outside into the city, not everybody is going to speak English. So, uh, print out or get a book of Portuguese words. Portuguese is the national language in Brazil. I would just be on the safe side, print out some words. You can't use your phone there unless you are in a Wi-Fi area or unless you're okay with paying a bunch of fees. So if you have a translator app on your phone, it probably uses up internet, so it will not work overseas unless you have Wi-Fi. So just print out a list of Portuguese words. Use a travel package. We booked our flight and airfare, or our airfare and hotel through Expedia. I only use Expedia if I'm getting like package deals. I love Expedia. But try to book it in a package because it'll definitely be cheaper than buying the flight and buying the hotel separately. Um, Avoid going to countries like Rio during large events because the wait to get a visa is long. You know, to go to Brazil, you need a visa. A lot of foreign countries require permission, and they make you pay a fee for entering their country. If you're coming from to the United States from other countries except Europe, um, like if you're coming from China, you are required to pay a fee and to have a tourist visa or a student visa. So when you go to Brazil, the fee for the visa, I think it was maybe $30 or $40. I'm not quite 100% sure, but if you Google it, you'll find out the fee. Um, so there is a fee for the visa, but if you travel during high traffic areas, such as during a World Cup or the Olympics, the wait to get a visa is longer. So my visa took about 4 or 5 days, business days. Um, not even, it was 4 or 5 days. So my visa took 4 or 5 days, and so I would just avoid foreign countries in general during high traffic events unless you're going specifically for that event. But I try to go places when it doesn't coincide with Olympics or World Cup, because I also feel like airfares are higher because a lot of people are traveling to that country. So, um, also something to keep in mind, in Brazil, we didn't drink the water. I'm not sure if the water is safe for consumption, but we got only bottled water. So, that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that in the southern hemisphere, which Brazil is in the southern hemisphere is anything below the equator. Their winters are opposite of us. So when it's wintertime in their country, it's summertime in our country. So we made the mistake. Maybe it wasn't a mistake, but we went to Brazil during their winter. So it was kind of chilly. It was like in the 60s and 70s. But that's just something to keep in mind if you're traveling to Brazil or any country in the southern hemisphere. Um, we flew out of Miami, and it was maybe an 8 hour flight, which is pretty long, but I just slept pretty much on the way. I try to fly if I can at night, because when it's daylight outside, our bodies are programmed to be awake, so it's more difficult for us to fall asleep. So if you already have flying anxiety and plane anxiety, if it's nighttime, when it's nighttime on the plane, they make you close your windows, they turn off the lights, and it's easier to actually fall asleep for those longer flights. So, those are just some tips. Also, when you're trying to exchange currency, try to avoid exchanging currency multiple times, because the rates vary and people try to cheat you, especially in like hotels. The rates to exchange are definitely more expensive. So if I were you, a lot of places in Rio actually took American dollars. The cab drivers generally don't take American dollars, but a lot of different places, like the tour guides, they took American dollars. So I would just try to keep as much American dollars as I can, because you're gonna end up losing money every time you convert your money, and every place has different rates, and the rates in hotels are more expensive. So it's more expensive to convert your money in a hotel than it is probably in an airport or something. So we went to, if you're going to Rio, definitely try to use a tour, go on a tour. Usually a tour will make you pay like $100, and you'll get to see like 8 tourist attractions. So we took 2 tour guides, one to see the favelas, which are like the slums or the ghettos of Rio. Rio has some of the most scenic favelas in South America. So we took a tour to go see them. And we also took a tour to go see Christ the Redeemer, which is like the main tourist attraction besides Copacabana Beach. So we saw Christ the Redeemer. We saw the not the Olympic, the World Cup Stadium. We saw um, we saw a big church. Um, if you guys want to see more, check my Instagram under the hashtag JNice in Brazil, because I'm forgetting the name of the church. We also saw the Lapa Steps. If you guys are familiar with the Snoop Dogg beautiful video, there it's like a mosaic. It's so beautiful. It's a lot of artwork. It's called Lapa. So we saw those steps. We saw a bunch of other different tourist attractions, but the best is to use a tour guide. I wouldn't recommend like going to those places on your own, because they could be dangerous, especially if you go at night. So using a tour guide is probably the best option. We also took public transportation, but I don't know if I would necessarily recommend that at night. In Rio, the public transportation isn't too bad, but in some countries, it's dangerous. We also took it during the day, so to cut down on costs, because um, using the taxis were very expensive, and because they see you're Americans, I feel like they try to overcharge you. So, so yeah, that was my experiences in Brazil. If you guys want to find out more, just leave questions below, and I will try to put some pictures at the end of this video so you guys can check out some of the stuff that we saw when we were in Rio, in case you guys are thinking of making a trip to Rio. So this is Jay Nice on the mic with Travel for Cheap, and I will check you guys out next time.